Because that's your name.
Yeah.
That's a perfect way to start the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
buddy.
back with Mike.
Yeah, Betty. Back with Greg. It's 4:11, 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Put the time in there. I'm kind of a nerd like that.
that's cool. It's good to know. Because this is episode 4.
Yeah.
I got to start releasing these.
Yeah, because I kind of want to hear our 2 hour long chat last week. That was
Which
epic.
I enjoyed.
That was fun. I want to hear like how I talk and how much I ramble and like
You did good.
my lisp. I have a little bit of a lisp, which is fun.
You talk good.
I make it mine. I talk goodly.
Talk goodly.
So I got to go, as we talked before, I got to leave about 6:50 to go watch the Cubs play. I'm trying to be a better baseball fan, so I saw their opening game the other day, and that was cool.
Did you go or you went?
I went to Oscars, and I didn't go.
So you watched from a bar.
I did my work at the bar. I put together an entire playlist for my gig on Saturday at the bar, and it's pretty cool. So I actually got more work done sitting at the bar than I went at home without being distracted with Rufus and the Facebooking and all the stuff.
Dude, I went to Starbucks the other day with my laptop
Yeah,
because I wanted to be that guy.
you were that guy.
But you actually get a lot of work done
Yeah.
that way. I see why people do that.
Yeah,
And then last night after work, I worked like 2 or 3 hours longer than normal. Didn't have much time after work to do anything, but I was like, I'm going to go to the mall, and I went to the Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
And I got like 6 books of different things that interest me. One was filmmaking, one was Python scripting, one was Cisco certifications, and one was a Super Nintendo book. And I just kind of went through all of them, and it was a good time. I
Yeah.
kind of like that, and it's free.
it's so free. You're that guy that's free
I
reading.
put all the books back exactly where I
There
found
you
them, though.
go.
I'm not that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Dude, if you leave the books on the
That's-
table, you're a
That's
jerk.
just a dick move, seriously. Unless you bought like a bunch of stuff and you feel like they deserve to work a little harder because you spend a bunch of money, which is still a shitty thing to do, but no, put the books back.
Not entitled to anything.
No, that's terrible. Leave it better than you found it. It's kind of a better way to look at it.
Right.
So anyways, to keep within our time frame, I figured we'd talk a little bit about how our weekend day is gone, kind of catch up.
Yes.
And then to be a super nerd, I put together 20 different animes that I super enjoy.
Yes.
That if you are trying to get into anime, you want a whole other level of TV to watch. I got 20 for sure.
Dude, that's awesome.
Awesome animes.
Because
for all
Mike
the
and I
genres.
didn't talk about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So with more structure, I guess.
That's cool. I
never
mean,
do.
that's how I like to do it. I got a few things that I could talk about if we get time,
all right.
and I'll just bring them up
Just
organically.
Organic.
Mm-hmm.
Nice term. So what did you? Was your Monday cool? My Monday was pretty cool.
What did I do Monday?
No, it's right.
It's
You gotta
already too
literally
far.
think about it. So I know I'll regale you with my Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
So Monday, I was waiting for the Cubs were supposed to open. They couldn't because of snow, even though the Sox played. But whatever. So I drove to Sterling and met with the school advisor for their high school. I went over the prom we're gonna be doing for them next month, and went to the venue and checked it all out. Took pictures, got that all squared away. So she's cool. She's ready to go, and came back yesterday. Went to specifically. I was like, I could stay at home and do this playlist, but I don't have TV at home. I don't have any cable, just the internet. So
Same here.
I don't watch TV, which is ironic, but we'll talk about that later. So
Stream the TV.
stream it, the internet, the interwebs. So I grabbed my laptop and I went up to Oscars in the morning, and the very first thing I did there was throw a guy out of the bar, not physically, but use some loud words because I was literally walking in.
You alpha worded him. You didn't use any physical.
Nope. I
method.
used my words and my volume and my beardness and my comfort with the bar, and he didn't think twice about it. Basically, there's a guy who just.
Can you let's reenact this.
I'll just go through
hold
real
on.
quick.
Was he just rowdy? What was he doing?
He was hammered.
Okay, I'm that guy. Ready?
It's even better than that because he made
pistachio.
he was more put together than that. He was actually interesting.
Tacos.
It was Taco Tuesday.
Tacos Tuesday. Where's Samantha?
No, he had a lawyer. There was 2 guys in suits.
Okay, you didn't tell me
Well,
about
I'm gonna get to him. Make it quick.
Talk about him, and then I got him.
He's basically hammered. He's an older guy. He's hammered. I'd say maybe 55, and he's just a professional drunk, basically.
Yep.
And I don't know the guy, but I know people. And when you're that drunk at noon, you didn't have noon, so ish. And so, anyways, I'm walking in. I got my laptop bag. I'm going to the end of the bar. I'm saying hi to the bartender. I know her. She's a friend of mine. And this guy walks up to this table of two well-dressed gentlemen having lunch, suits. They look like lawyers, so I'll get to that. And the bartender is like, hey, leave these guys alone. They're trying to, because he's right up in their face. He's soliciting them. And he turns around, this drunk guy turns around, doesn't miss a beat, and yells, these are my lawyers. And like, seriously, like he had something like was funny. I'm like, okay, that's funny because they look like lawyers. And he was yelling at her because he wanted to talk to his lawyers. And for a second, I'm like, no, these aren't his lawyers. I didn't see where he was at. And I didn't see, anything about when he came in. And this look on these guys' faces was like, no, not serious at all. And then basically he started yelling at the bartender. He's yelling at her. And there's hardly any people in there. It's not that busy at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for these two guys. They're not small dudes. They're average size to large size gentlemen. And they're well dressed. I'm waiting for them to sort themselves out, to stand up and do the right thing and say, hey, leave the bartender alone. You can leave now. And they didn't. They just kind of stood there and were waiting for the girl to do the thing. And I'm like, that's bullshit. So basically I just told the guy, if you're going to be loud, then you can take off. And I said, if you need some help, I'll help you. And he looked at me and was like, okay, I'm good. And he literally just took straight off. That was it. He had a minor bit of male confrontations, all that he really needed to be pushed out. I didn't have to touch the guy.
Do you think he felt more alpha than the bartender and those lawyers at the
At some point, basically, he thought that he could have his way with the place because no one was going to do anything about it.
Not around you.
No. I almost looked at the bartender. I was like, can I punch in literally? Because if he came at me, what's on, bro? Like, you mad, bro? Bring it. I don't start fights, but I'll finish them. Shit. That's kind of look at it, And
armbar.
It's seriously, I don't enjoy fighting. It's not a thing that I like to do.
Just tell me you had an Affliction shirt on.
No, I have the standard Rock Vegas deal. Nothing special.
Oh, bro, you want to go? No Affliction shirt. You see this?
That's just how my day started. I just sat down and these guys looked at me and they didn't say thank you or anything. I was like, whatever. I'm not doing it for the thanks, but I do it because I spend a lot of time there and it's just like my second house. And that's some bullshit. I'm not going to have some bullshit in my house. So anyways, sat down, got the laptop plugged in, didn't actually order my first beer till the game started. I'm like, okay, sweet.
This was noonish on a Monday?
This was about 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock-ish, when 1:20-ish. So watched them play. They lost. Javi hit 2 solo runs. That was cool. But other than that, that was my Tuesday. It was pretty cool. Whatevs. A little altercation. Some work done.
Nice.
That was my Tuesday day. But at the end of the day, I left there and I went to the District 3 police station for week 8 of the Rockford Citizens Police Academy. And week 8 was special because they had the canine unit come in and the handler with his dog, Sully.
Sweet.
It was super awesome. Let me tell you a little bit about how this went. So the deputy, who I won't name names, came in first and he's all got his full gear. He's got a special dog gear. He's got a spot for a dog toy and a dog deal. And he talked for maybe 20 minutes about, how he does his stuff, which is pretty cool. They have 5 professionally trained canine units in Winnebago County. It's actually one of the largest in the state of Illinois, I learned. Chicago has the largest, obviously Cook County. And then Peoria has 12.
Are they all German Shepherds?
No, here's the thing. That's the next thing I want to talk about. So we're all like, where's the dog? Seriously, he's the star of the show. Bring him in. And I'm like, there better be a dog here. I'm going to be pissed. So he goes and gets his dog, Sully. Sully the dog. He's 4 years old.
All right.
And he's a mix of a German Shepherd and a Malinois. He's a German Malinois.
I don't know that breed, but that's cool.
He's smaller. He's like 65 or 70 pounds versus the German Shepherds, which are well over 100 at times. And he's just a little energy shithouse. This dog had no problem standing up and putting his paws on his master, all like just for shits. Like he would stand to relax. And this guy was about 6 foot, and the dog would just literally stand on his back 2 feet. And I was paying particular attention to the hips and all that because the German Shepherds have their hips go. So a little bit about Sully. He's 4. They don't screw around when they get these dogs. He was $7,500. And they can go up to $30,000 for these dogs. And he had a specific talking point of like, where do you get these dogs? I'm like, my German Shepherd could be a canine dog. And he said, no, seriously, they can't. And the stuff that these dogs not only have to naturally have built in before any training goes in is like a whole list of things like, nope, my dog wouldn't do that. Nope. And like literally like all these just common things, like will not associate with other dogs. will listen to commands instantly, is excited to be rewarded with play. It's just most dogs fail like right off the bat.
Right.
It's like an intense thing before they put all this training into this dog. So they get their dogs from East Germany, and most of the commands he was saying were in German, which is cool. It's a whole other thing of, oh shit, it's German. German just sounds a little more aggressive,
authoritative
German
stuff.
Germans, Russians, things like that. Just a natural speaking of the word sounds, oh shit.
Yeah.
Pay attention. So he's got this dog in there, and the entire time the dog, he's responding to commands, but he's excited. So he's jumping up around because he's around people. And we learned quite a bit about how they use the dogs and what. So the entire time the dog's sitting in there, and there's like an aisle of tables, and I'm on the right side, I'm right on the aisle. And this dog, the entire time, is looking past me out through the doors we come in, just staring. Like the entire time. He's just like staring, and then he gets up and runs around staring, and he repeats this. And I stopped and I turned around. I'm looking like there's nothing back there, but this dog, something's got his attention back there. Turns out the guy that his partner who gets to put on the huge dog bite suity thing, which is the thing, which I really wanted to see. I'm like, man, there better be a dude getting attacked tonight. And I didn't think it was going to happen, but at the last minute they busted this dude out. So that's why he knew he was expecting, or he saw a movement? He was expecting because his handler was like, look, he says, we do 2 or 3 or 4 of these shows a day. He's a showman with this dog. And there's a standard procedure. I talk. Sully comes in. The dog probably knows the speech.
When the guy starts talking about, so when we bring these dogs out, the dog's like, oh shit, this is it.
He does.
He's saying the dog's out thing.
And he specifically talked about that too. And I'm like, oh shit. Because he goes, Sully knows that in just a moment, there's going to be a big dude, my partner.
And Sully's all like, I know when he says Sully knows, the shit's coming up.
On. Like this dude came in and
man bear suit guy.
He's got this full bite suit on, which is like this heavy duty thing, right? And then Sully is sitting there, but he is whining. He is literally chomping at the bit. He was chirping, like he wasn't barking, but he was chirping. Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna get this guy. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until like a very specific command was given. Like he went through the things they would say to a perpetrator or a suspect, the things they would say before they let loose the dog. And they don't just let loose the dogs in any general situation. We can talk about that too. But this is to the point where this person or individual suspect has earned what's coming to him, basically. It's dog go time. So he lets Sully loose, and he just runs and he chomps, and what they're trained to do is they're trained to bite a part of the body, either the forearm generally or the leg, and hold on for dear life. That's what he does.
Do they bite and shake?
They don't necessarily bite and shake. He was trying to get him in there, but he was more focused on compression and just holding on. So the human...
So when the dudes fall, is it usually because the dog is biting hard or the dog is pulling down?
It's generally because the dog is not trained to pull down, because that's a weight fight that he's not going to win. He's only 70 pounds.
So when people are dropping, that's usually just because, oh crap, this hurts?
It's a natural response to defend yourself and fall down into a fetal position. So that's what most people do.
If I get bit, I need to keep running and pull up. I got this.
If you are attacked by a canine dog, you should be giving up whatever the fuck you were doing in the first place. That dog's going to get you.
Well, just asking for a friend.
Just saying. Not saying,
my
just
friend
saying.
wanted to know how to get away from the canine dog.
Well, your friend better be able to outrun Usain Bolt, because that dog, that Usain Bolt is the fastest human alive.
I don't know. I'm pretty fast.
Can you run 33 miles an hour at his slowest? No, you can't run 33 miles an hour.
I don't know.
So Sully's top speed is about 35, and I guess he's a slower dog because there's a dog in his class that can top 40 miles an hour. So you can picture these cops literally with their radar guns timing these dogs as they're running, and to break 40 miles an hour on 4 legs of a dog, that's insane. So
that's pretty sweet.
That's super sweet.
What was the crowd like in Rockford to go to something like this?
It's the class I'm with. So there was 30 total people in the class. It's the other police, citizens, people that were selected to be in the class.
What's our demographic look like?
I am definitely, I don't know, an outlier, if you will. It's mostly older people in the retired citizens range. So that's of both sexes. There are a couple younger people. When I say younger, I'm talking like maybe 25, 30. And it's predominantly, it's more women than men. There's definitely more women in there than men. And there's a lot of people in there that are part of their neighborhood network groups, neighborhood action groups, crime watches and stuff like that. But I'm the only person in my demographic really that's 40-year-old
So
male.
there's some chicks there. I should go show up there and be like, hey,
Like, if you like
police dogs, right?
Literally feel like grandmas.
And point to himself like, Greg. Police dogs, right? Hey, I'm Greg.
Greg, my God. So that's my Tuesday with Sully. Learned a lot with dogs, and basically to finish up with the canine part is if they come to a house, the canine units, if there's a bunch of cops there already and there's SWAT and whatever, once the canine police officers show up, they control the scene. Like they call point on that, which is pretty cool because they've got the dog. And he was telling stories about how he's got, it shows up, there's a guy in the house, he's barricaded, we know he's in there, he's got a gun, and, this is a terrible situation. And basically, like, well, we don't want to go in there because, he's already got a gun, and, we have guns too, but that's a lose situation. When people shooting each other, that's generally what the police try to avoid is people shooting in general. That's a good business practice, the guns. So they'll bring the canine up to the door, and he'll open the door, and they have to announce. They can't just let loose the dogs. They have to announce, say, hey, canine's here, and he's going to be coming in unless you give yourself up.
That would motivate me to give up.
It motivates most suspects. Like
because they're so fast.
They are so fast. Like you don't have time.
How do they know who to go after?
They smell. They see what.
So they let them in a house. Maybe there's multiple people in a house.
There's generally just one. That's a situation.
So they have to validate that there's one, because if one guy's sitting there with his kid, what's the dog going to do?
That's a good point. This is the controlled situation, I guess, if you will.
Okay.
So then that's another thing too, is they don't just, like I said, let loose the dogs and random people, shoplifting or shit like that.
So I wonder, are the dogs ever trained not to attack kids?
Yes, they are trained. Here's the thing: the dogs are trained to be bite aggressive. They are rewarded to bite as a variant because that's what they need to do. They're tools basically. But they exercise additional caution around children and the senior citizens. Essentially, they're trained somehow to know that.
So do they put little kids in bear suits and let them run?
That's how they work it.
See, he didn't grab them.
He didn't need little Jimmy this time. So bad.
But the dog's going to get confused when the kids aren't in bear suits. So I don't understand.
That's, you just cover them in honey and let nature take its course with the dog. Is good. This one lady was there, and this guy, to finish up, this guy getting attacked, right? Like it was his partner. It looked like he was taking this shit personal. Like this was like, oh, seriously, I got to get eaten again by this dog again for the third time today. He was not having a good time. He wasn't smiling. He was not enjoying himself.
Because he's the dog getting bit. He's the dog
getting bit guy, literally. And
that's his thing.
That is his thing. That's his value to the team, I guess. And someone's got to do it, I guess. And that's would not want to be that guy. And he's literally standing there with this dog chomping on his arm, like holding on. Like he would spin this dog around, trying.
Did you connect with this dude on LinkedIn and everyone like validates his skills? Like, this dude got bit by dogs. He's pretty good. And the other guy's like, I've seen him take a lot of good bites by dogs. 10, Definitely recommend.
10 on the getting bit ability to receive dog bites.
Like his network on LinkedIn's probably
dog bite
awesome.
Guy. Seriously. He took it like a champ. He's walking on. I specifically said, so you don't take that personal, do you? And he said no, but his eyes were saying something else. Like he's not, like he lost a bet or something that day to be that guy. But that's the canine team. It was pretty cool. They had a really good demonstration with it, and the dog Sully was definitely a champ. The handler gets to keep the dog when they retire the dog. That's pretty cool.
Cool.
That's a very expensive animal. And the reason why they went away from the German Shepherds is that
so they're not a standard thing anymore.
It's not a standard thing. Oh. The German Shepherds aren't part of the club anymore. The Dobermans aren't. It's basically these German Shepherd mix
hybrid
Malinois. I'm not doing it justice.
No,
I'll spell it out.
I'm sure it's
look it up.
Close enough.
It's close. Google it. So this little dog can clear a 6-foot fence like just sitting down in the chair. It ain't no thing. And he goes with the German Shepherd dogs. Like they don't like doing that. They're just too big, and picking up a dog and lifting 100+ pound dog over 6-foot fences in a row is ridiculous. That's just, you can't do that. So this dog would literally run through the backyard, jump over a 6-foot fence, run through the yard, jump over another, and just not break a sweat. Like over 6 of them. 6. It'd take me 20 minutes to climb over one 6-foot fence. Like seriously, Mike, you done? Can you just fall off already? Like the dog.
It's pretty intense.
It's super intense. And he said the number one thing that kills the dogs, it's not bad guys, it's heat. It's this overworking them, like in the hotness of the summer, and the cars are temperature controlled. Like not only do they have the air conditioning running, but they have a computer controlled system for specific temperature control for that canine. The canine squads aren't a squad car that's turned into generally a canine car. They start from scratch as this is going to be a canine car generally. I mean, I'm sure they convert some cars, but for the most part,
why don't they tech it out and have a collar on the dog that has the 2 little metal probes that are on its neck, gives you a readout on their temperature, or not even a readout, just an alarm when they're starting to overheat.
They do have an electronic collar with 2 prongs, but it's not used for that. They haven't.
That's like the beep vibrate training.
Yes, it's a beep vibrate training thing that he says when his shit hits the fan and it's chaos and the dog's either not doing something he's supposed to do or he's getting off track, is that he can hit his talkie or his command device and it will vibrate his collar, and when he feels that, he's like, oh shit, like where's the master at?
Oh man, I know.
Now I better step my game up, kind of deal. And to finish, one of the things a dog does is he needs a command, which the guy didn't say. He didn't say the command. It was a different command because it's like the top secret command word. But he had another command that had them attack the bike guy. They have a different command for actually attacking a perp. That's a different word. He didn't use it.
Different training.
It's classified essentially. So the guy was done, but he was standing there. And Sully had already had his way with the bike guy. And he's standing next to the officer, but Sully is on constant alert. So he's like, watch this. And the bike guy came at the officer. Like he made a fast move to come to him, and Sully jumped right up on this guy, right back to chomping on said arm.
But Sully does this every day. He's expecting it.
Yes.
So you should have done your part and tried to attack the guy.
Shit, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd have multiple puncture wounds, probably, definitely.
Dude, but they're like, dude, you got bit pretty well. We got a job for you. You're a dog bitey guy now.
Dog bitey guy. And it was interesting because they do train a lot. Like he was saying, even on his day off, like he will spend 4 hours a day in the field because they're trained to track. They're trained to scent out smells. The interesting thing about this dog is they're trained only on a certain type of smell situation. So he's trained for drugs. He's a drug sniffing dog. And they have dogs that can smell bombs and the different components that make them. But a fun fact, which makes sense, but I didn't really think about, is they train one dog for one type of smells. They don't have a dog trained in drug detection and bomb detection because it's going to scent on both. So the guy was like, well, he gets you a backpack. Is there drugs in there or is there a bomb in there?
They got to be smell specialists.
Smell specialists. You got it. He said there's 39 or 40 scents they train on for bombs and another 39 or 40 for accelerants for fire because there's fire dogs.
Yeah.
And then there's only 5 that they have to train them for the drug use. It's cannabis, crack cocaine,
heroin,
and then methamphetamine is the last one on there. And they don't train them for pain pills or the fentanyl because those are prescription stuff. They don't want to get into that. So that's the smells that the dog is trained on, which is cool.
That is cool. So I didn't know they do all that. I thought it was just kind of generalist smell dog skills.
Then there's some that are specifically trained to be cadaver dogs or look for humans dogs and stuff like that. And
so they look for dead body smell?
Dead body smell.
Will they find like a rotting raccoon?
I wouldn't say, he didn't say dead body smell. He said find the human smell. So just humans in general. So if there's a collapsed structure
smell.
Well, not necessarily. See, we didn't get into that. There may be. I'm sure there are. But he was like, they're scented to smell. Like, go find a human smell. That's what he said.
Oh, okay.
So there's a collapsed building. Go find a human smell. And when you find the smell,
we all smell baseline the same.
We smell like people. The dogs know.
Right.
And the dog sits down and he points. He goes, that's my thing. And then once he finds the thing, his reward is a toy. He has a toy that he plays with his handler, and it's super intense. It's a bitey toy, which reinforces the bitey on the guy stuff. Like the biting is a big thing. They're trained to bite. And the lady sitting next to me, she's an older lady. She was super surprised that the dog would bite the bite guy that when he attacked him, like because he was his partner. Like the dog knows the bite guy. He knows they're like, hey, he's his buddy.
Yeah.
But the lady's like, well, the dog knows the guy. Why is he biting him? This lady, this dog is a tool. Like if he's told to go bite that dude, he's going to go bite that dude.
Right.
No questions. Literally just on. And
makes me question the dog's loyalty. I mean, they're supposed to be loyal.
The dog is loyal to his handler. He listens to that human because the amount of time.
Bitey guy he gets the shaft. Dog bitey guy.
Well, maybe he made that choice.
Can we give this guy a name or some respect at all?
The fact we're even talking about him right now.
We're going to call him Keith. Dog bitey guy name is Keith.
Really named Keith. I'm sorry, Keith. Power to you.
Keith needs respect in his life. He gets bit every day.
Poor guy. So that was yesterday. That was a bike guy. Today, getting ready for. I got four proms coming up. We're doing
busy season
starting. We got 4 proms in the next 4 weeks. So we have Harlem coming up this Saturday, and then we have Stillman Valley after that, and then Guilford, and then Sterling. And these are all repeat events too, because they've all invited us back. So that's cool.
How many hours do you usually work in one of these?
The actual event time, the party time generally is about 3 hours.
You set up like 6 hours ahead of time?
We do. I'll be at Tabala, oh my God, at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. For those of you who know me, that's super early because I DJ till at least 3. So that's going to be an early morning for me. But whatever. I got to do what I got to do to get the event set up and going and all doubt removed, sound checked well before the time starts. So I'll set it up, go home, probably take a nap.
Do you have backup equipment in case what if you got like, are they powered speakers that you use?
They are powered speakers.
One's just fried.
If one's just fried, then most honestly,
Guitar Center run.
Well, I do have backups to answer your question. I've got a backup of everything. I have doubles of everything. And at the event, we're going to have 4 tops for the main sounds and 2 subs. So there's 2 complete sound systems.
Subs?
Yeah, 18-inch subs.
18-inch subs.
The queued up.
You ever blew a breaker or anything when you're doing these?
No, not at all. In fact,
that's a lot of watts.
Well, it is a lot of watts, but the QSCs they're built to not use a lot of juice. You can get away with 2 tops and a sub for less than 10 amps.
A lot of them, I imagine, probably have pretty big filter capacitors, so they're not doing big draws of power all at once.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of smooths it out so you're not popping breakers.
It's less of an issue at Tabala because they have a massive sound stage and, super duper electric made to do stuff like that. It's more of my buddy's got this barn and we're going to have a party in it. Oh, okay. Well, how often does that happen? Well, this is the first time.
Right.
Like, okay, well.
And we got a generator and we're running extension cable.
So for anything like that, for any event, really, if there's any doubt, like I go to it, I check it out, like I pre-survey it. Even before, sometimes there's a contract signed just to be like, oh, this venue, I'm sorry, it's not going to play. And I'm not going to take your money.
You have a pretty good boilerplate modified contract for events.
It's very simple.
Outlines that stuff.
It's 1 page for general DJ services and 3 pages for the photo booth because there's more disclaimers in there. But
right, so you have like, if dogs come in and bite people, not liable.
If Keith shows up, run.
Due to your affiliation with Keith.
Poor guy. So the contract, it's business, and there's a contract there, and I scan and email all of it. So there's a permanent record, all this stuff, but. So I got to go to Francesco's today, and I met with the banquet manager, Michelle, to go over the room layout and placement for stuff for Stillman Valley. Because I'm going to be doing my first show in the Frank Sinatra room, which for those of you that have not been to Francesco's, go to Francesco's and check out the Frank Sinatra room. It's really cool. Little
I've
place.
Been in there.
You walk in, it's to the right. And you step down some stairs to go into it, and it's a lot more intimate. It's kind of place that you'd see Frank Sinatra sing at.
That's where they had dueling pianos and stuff at before.
Yes.
Do they still do that?
I don't think they do.
That's a bummer.
Well, it's because Rockford can't have nice things apparently, and someone started shooting. So
what?
Yeah, they
like in the parking lot.
I think it was in the parking lot at some other location, but it was a result of that.
And, I feel like the terrorists win because I went to the mall last night and I just thought about shootings. And I know it wasn't even terrorists who did the shootings.
Okay.
But,
this Rockford and the crime stuff we have.
They get one for that because they made me think about it.
Well, you should be thinking about it.
And it was crimes, not terrorists, but crimes? Gangs.
Gang units, which we had a presentation on gangs in the Rockford area.
Okay. I'm old school on my gang knowledge. I have 90s gang knowledge.
Yeah.
What are our prevalent gangs in Rockford now?
There are
Latin Kings are still around.
There are. I'm going to leave it at this. Number one, I don't want to get into it because we don't have time.
Lords.
But the thing is,
Baby Lords.
There's a book. They gave me a pamphlet, like it was a book of like 15 pages of all the gangs.
There's 15.
The 15 pages.
More than 15
and
gangs.
It turns out the interesting part, which I did learn, is that they have brackets. There's like an East Division and then like
March Madness.
It's kind of I would say more like the AL, NL in baseball, or an NFL, the different leagues. Like there's 2 overall leagues.
Do you think cops bet on them?
I don't know about that. Maybe when they're in the joint, but they have 2 leagues, and on each league they have all the other gangs. And the purpose that serves is when when they're incarcerated. So they don't have hundreds of little factions of all the little gangs. They have the 2 factions. So if you're gang A, B, or C, you're under number 1 banner. And you guys, well, when you're outside, may not get along. In here, we're all buddies.
Right.
So you have all the other gangs, D, E, and F, under group 2, and they kind of like say, well, there's going to be gangs. So it's a self-management
AFC,
system. It's like when the Chicago Bears don't win, you're still supposed to root for the NFC North because, that's our division. You want the Vikings to win or the Packers to win. Because that's the division. But that's, if you think about it, that's super efficient because there's going to be gangs no matter what, especially in prison. We're
high on the list of places that aren't favorable to live.
Well, for a variety of reasons, but
I know that gangs exist in all the big cities.
Yeah, they do, but
do they exist as much as here?
They do.
We have 15 pages.
Rockford is just a smaller version of Chicago.
Well, I know Chicago's bad,
basically, and that's just the way it is. So,
but let's pick one out, like Orlando. Oh shoot, that's pretty bad. Orlando, Florida. Yeah, that's rough.
Probably not as rough as Orlando, Florida. No, I don't know. I didn't live down there. You lived down there, so you'd be better.
Always in the 90s? Was it like this?
It's actually getting better.
See, that's what I mean. Like, we always assume it's so bad. It's getting worse.
It's perception of time and things like that.
And everyone sees like, oh, it's getting worse. Oh, Rockford's getting worse.
It's actually getting better. The crime statistics are getting better. It just depends on what you want to look at.
We had a crack house across the street when I was a little kid.
Well, see, now you've been exposed to other cultures.
Right. And they were very nice. I never talked to them.
They always had the best sugar. You have some sugar? So I guess to finish up with the police stuff is that we've gone to the decentralized police station base, which is pretty cool. The way they used to do it is they had the public safety building, downtown there. I think it's on Elm, where they have the courthouse and all that, and that's the one-stop shop. And all the cars parked underneath the structure. That was a police station. Well, they've redone it essentially. They have District 1, District 2, and District 3, which is basically District 1 is the west side of the river. District 2 is like the southern middle section, and District 3 is the eastern part. And they have 3 different police stations plus the public safety building, each in those districts. So for District 3, which is where I live, they converted it's on 557 Newtown. It's behind the Paninos there. It's the old mail place. They had the mail post office. They converted the post office into a police station. And I was leaving there yesterday, and I'm like, man, this is a really suited retrofit. I mean, it's already a secure location. They had tons of parking for all the little, the delivery vehicles, and it's a government building. So
I'm sorry, I had something random come up in my head. So how we have a gay bar downtown Rockford called The Office?
Yes.
What if they opened another one and they called it the Post Office? Because it's the mail place.
I get it. You don't got to explain it.
No. You said mail place, and I was like, that's not bad. I mean,
maybe you should bring that idea to them next time we walk in. You
can open a bar called Anchors Away.
You put a lot of thought into the names of gay
mail
bars.
Place. You got Post Office.
Wow, that's good.
Okay, you got any?
No, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about names for a specific.
Well, it took me like 10 seconds.
Oh, well, I wasn't sure if there's something you mulled over for all day. I have no idea.
No, I mean, I was slow at work today, so I was thinking of gay establishment names.
Wow, mental note. So that's District 3. And then District 2 is on Broadway, and it's just past 11th Street West, a couple blocks down in Kishwaukee area. It's District 2. It's the old Turner Johnson building. It's a pretty cool structure too. And then they built a new purpose-built District 1 facility just really close to the old public safety building.
So is this a new thing to have decentralized stations like this?
and it's working.
Because I was going to say, this podcast is like global.
International.
So someone in Australia is going to be like, man, Rockford, Illinois. I know they have gangs. They have a new gay place opening up. Gay place. A gay club or whatever.
They got badass canines.
Badass canines.
Decentralized policing. But they have seen a general decrease in the bad stuff in those areas because they do spread them out.
You would say Rockford's getting better?
I would say Rockford's getting better. I say that because I see a lot of things that have been torn down, which is one thing, but I see a lot of things that are being built in those places that have been torn down. So they're actually building new structures. And I can think quite a few off the top of my head. So.
I think we need more opportunities and jobs here, right? Because why do you join a gang as a kid, right? Because you didn't have good guidance from parents
that are probably in the same gang.
Right. So you got to break that cycle.
You do. It's a money thing.
But two, the poverty thing.
Poverty. It's in Rockford, it's 1 in 5. 20% of Rockford lives below poverty. In poverty,
what's poverty? 20,000 a year or something?
It's less than, it's like 18-ish thousand-ish. So 1 in 5 people lives below the poverty line, which is a terrible statistic. And a lot of the problems come from or stemmed from that. I'm not saying that if you're poor, you're going to be in crime, but that's how it grows. So if you want to combat crime and all the shootings and all the gang stuff, you have to have more jobs that are just minimum wage. These are lifetime jobs. The manufacturing facilities dried up, and that's the shift that Rockford's never really got over. And we just kind of like moped our way through, and I was like, oh, well, we'll rely on giant retailers, in East State and all these corporate food establishments, and then we'll save
places that pay minimum wage.
And they pay minimum wage, and those aren't the jobs that people need to get ahead in life. So I guess they're working on it. If you're looking to get an education, Rock Valley is a great program. Great
Rockford University is great too, except it's kind of expensive. But Rock Valley is awesome.
They have a lot of trade programs that you go through the welding program or the automotive program, and you're hired. You're going to get a job, or you learn how to drive a truck. You get a CDL. If you have a CDL and you're looking for a job, then you're not looking in the right spots because they're everywhere.
But I'm in the tech industry. I cannot find jobs in this area. Well, I'm employed now, which is great.
Rockford's not high tech enough for that, though. You have to get towards Schaumburg or Chicago, or
I got to go to Madison, or I got to go to the suburbs of Chicago.
You do. Rockford's. There are certain areas that they're catching up in the tech, but
I thought about moving to Madison, actually.
I saw something on the internet today, on the interweb, saying that the Illinois state registration for vehicles is going to go from $102 to over $500 per car. And I didn't research that. I don't know the stats. I don't know if that's true, but if
it makes sense, because Illinois is always brought up as having no money.
No money. That's some bullshit. If they go with that route versus legalizing marijuana to take that entire revenue stream, they're going to tax me, I don't know, 5 times more per car. That's $1,500.
I have to do that for my Jeep. You just reminded me. It's probably expired.
It's a lot of money. But anyways, okay. So what we got? 6:38. I got about 10 minutes of chatting time. You want to talk about some anime?
Yeah, leave before 7.
The game starts at 7. I want to see the opening pitch.
Okay,
probably be a fan.
It's lightning round.
So I'm a super nerd.
Anime.
And I just got done watching. I watched 2 seasons of an anime last night, like two entire seasons in one night. I'll give you the
1 minute pitch.
I'm
ready.
I've got basically a list, and they're not really in any particular order. They kind of are the order that I started watching them in, I guess. But
I don't want to waste time on an okay anime. I watched High School of the Dead with somebody the other month. I don't have time for that. I don't want to waste time.
That's actually a pretty funny little anime.
It was funny, but it wasn't great.
It's only a season, and it kind of left off at the end.
Yu Yu Hakusho, I thought that was great. Okay.
Well, let me give you, so this obviously is subjective, so this is no right or wrong. These are some of my top 20 favorite lists of anime, and I try to include as many different genres in here as I could. By no means is this extensive.
How many you got? 10?
I got 20 on here.
20?
So I'm going to go through them real quick and kind of just get them out there.
We're starting with 20. I don't want to start with number 1. Can we start with 20?
Well, I'm going to kind of go through them in the order that I watched them.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to do that is because for me, there was a learning curve. I'll explain that with the last one we're going to talk about here, the most recent one I'm watching. So in no particular better another than other, these are kind of the order I watched them in. And then the reason I had this list is if you're trying to get into anime and you want to watch anime, then you're going to like these, hopefully, because I love them. They're all unique and they're all fun.
So for every 3 you say, I'm going to interject with one that I recommend.
All right, let's do it. Let's start with here. What got me started in anime was the Ghost in the Shell series.
Yes.
And that's what I transitioned from I'm going to say cartoons into anime. And I need to make a distinction here. And some people are like, oh, you watch cartoons. No. I watch anime. It's different.
Yeah.
Anime is completely different.
Respect.
There's so many differences. The character development is just completely different. There's continuity between each episode.
It's adults. Anime is meant for adults.
It's meant for adults. And people are like, oh, you watch cartoon porn. No, that's hentai. That's a specific subset of anime.
Yeah, Google it. You'll know it's very different. Google anime, Google hentai.
Yeah, two different things. So anyways, that's animated. They're not cartoons. Okay, so Ghost in the Shell, the entire series, there's several different seasons. There's several different variations. There's movies.
So I want to get started. Ghost in the Shell. Where
Ghost
do I
in
go?
the Shell. Okay, so that's a good question. So to watch any of these, every one of these animes is dubbed, meaning you don't have to do subtitles. You can just watch it and listen. So that's another thing about all of these. Basically, I watch on the computer and I plug it on my big screen. I go to animeland, animeland.org, and that's basically the main site. There's a couple others. You just Google it. It's not hard to do. It's free. All you got to do is click ads. Everything you have to click through an ad, close an ad, and watch the show. It's free. So don't get me started on paying for this stuff. I don't pay for any of this.
Is this a gray market for?
Nope, this is
media?
legit. This is legitimate, non-illegal. It's totally legit.
Right,
so Ghost in the Shell, number one. Number two is the longest series on here. It's going to be Inuyasha.
Never seen it.
Inuyasha.
But they have like cat ears, don't they?
They have cat ears. Well, he has cat ears.
Okay.
So it started in 2000. So it's been around for about 20 years. There's 167 episodes.
Is it really good?
It's good enough to watch all 160 episodes for me. I watched every one of them. It took me quite a while. I had to come back to it as I grew up. Basically, it's feudal Japan. A girl, Kagome, in current time, falls through her family's shrine well and winds up back in the day in feudal Japan, where there's monsters and demons and all the shit. And it's one giant arc of character introduction, character development, and a super duper bad guy that just takes 167 episodes to finally get to. So in the conclusion of it, I was like, oh man, they better finish this series proper, and they did. Good. So Inuyasha is cool.
Okay.
After that, Cowboy Bebop, definitely a good watch.
I'm only like 4 episodes into that. I got to finish it.
There's 26 episodes. Watch them. It's basically space cowboys. Good stuff. Good school. Spike is a badass. And then all the rest of these here are pretty much newer. So I'm just going to read them off here. Death Note is the shit.
I felt like the first couple seasons really got me. And then it kind of dragged on the last 2. We're just like,
Death Note. Got to watch it. There's about a guy that finds a book. It's called the Death Note, and whatever he writes in it, if he writes a person's name in it, they die.
Yeah.
And
it hooks you in pretty good.
It hooks you.
Don't bother with the live action.
Just watch the anime. They have a Shinigami, which is, his name is Ryuk. He likes apples, and he's the one that does the dirty work. So it's pretty cool. Claymore is kind of a more. Have you seen Claymore? I'm talking about
all of it.
Claymore.
Love it.
It's medieval. It's sword fighting. It's character development. It's leveling up stuff. So that's fun. Attack on Titan is. I actually watched this in subtitles. It was that good.
I watched the first episode. It's pretty heavy.
I watched. It's intense.
I need to watch the rest of it.
You need to watch it because
as far as Netflix, that was going to be one I recommend just by the first episode alone. And one of my top recommendations is the Castlevania anime.
Oh, I watched the 4 episodes on there. The newer one, that's the shit.
Is that on your list?
It's not on my list. I didn't have time to put it in.
That was incredible.
Castlevania was good. It was
incredible.
Yeah.
If I had to recommend one that you watch on my end, it'd be Castlevania on Netflix.
I concur. It was good shit. Moving on, Sword Art Online 1 and 2. It's basically futuristic Japanese kids. They get stuck in a video game, and if they die in the game, they die in the real world. And they deal with some pretty heavy topics for children. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of gore in it, but there's life and death, and it resolves itself well. It's got cool endings. Gurren Lagann is a unique type of anime. It's got some really interesting artwork. It's over the top. It's comic books from the 50s and 60s.
I've never even heard of this one.
Gurren Lagann. It starts off with these 2 guys, and they start battling these little tiny robots, and by the end of the series, they're battling in devices that are bigger than galaxies. So it's a kind of a level up over time animation, and it's cool. The characters are cool. You get the feels. The animation style is really extra off the wall.
Okay,
it's pretty cool. Fate Stay Night and the follow up Fate Zero are some cool fighting animes. The animation is really cool. It's basically there's these heroes and there's humans that control these basically fighters, avatars that are eternal, and all they do is exist to kill each other, kind of deal. And the point is to get the Grail, which can grant you a wish. So that's some pretty cool anime. High School DxD has definitely got a fan service in there, meaning less than fully clothed people. It's kind of a harem anime where there's one guy and he has a whole group of super strong female characters that all like him, and he's kind of like, oh, well, great. No, what do I do? So it's funny. It's actually laugh out loud funny. There's some serious adult humor in that. So I literally almost spit on my beer watching that episode. So episodes. Okay, so moving on here to finish up, Kill La Kill is fun. Kill La Kill. It's based on characters that are each assassins kind of deal, and there's a lot of death and a lot of people die kind of deal. It's not necessarily gore, but they kill off the characters that you come to love. So that's kind of messed up. Assassination Classrooms. There's 2 seasons of that. That's pretty cool. It's a Japanese based. There's a monster, and he's the teacher of the class, and if they don't kill him, then the entire world dies. And he's super nice, like he loves his kids. So there's a whole plot development with that. So that's
it's
cool.
like the big moral dilemma.
You got to kill your teacher, or the world dies.
There's a runaway train, and you can turn the tracks. It's going to hit
Trolley.
a 2-year-old kid, or it's going to hit a 60-year-old man.
Who do you pick?
And his wife.
Well, that's yeah. So speaking
he's a thief. And his name is Keith.
He gets bit by dogs because that's why he's on the tracks. He's running from the dogs. Oh my gosh. Okay, so one more time I left here. What we got?
Yeah, 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Kind of rattle these off here. 7 Deadly Sins is fun. Again, there's superhero characters. It's got plot development. It's pretty cool. And then to finish it off, a couple of vampire movies here, or vampire series. Blood Plus was fun. There's 50 episodes of that.
Okay.
Helsing is
he's
the super duper uber
Helsing Ultimate or something.
Helsing Ultimate is one of the takeoffs. There's a lot of gore in that. People die in every possible blood-soaked way. So if you're avert to that, don't watch it. Following up with that, Elfen Lied. Same thing. There's characters. They're meant to be weapons. They're people that are built to be human weapons, and they lots of killing, lots of adult themes in that for sure. And then to finish up here, Ergo Proxy, ERGO Proxy is a futuristic anime. It's super well drawn. It gets really, really cool the way they drew it, and the overall theme and the characters and the plot is spot on. It's the shit. It's got the best story.
Really?
So it's a good story.
So is it like science-y future?
It's a science-y future. The world has ended. Mankind built.
Can I get on Netflix or no? Just that site?
That might be. I don't know if it's on Netflix or not. It might be on Amazon. Ergo Proxy, ERGO Proxy. It's got a really great story. So there's more story there.
I got one more recommendation.
Go for it. I've only got 2, and I'll finish up.
Welcome to the NHK. You ever heard of that?
I have not heard of that.
This is a different anime because if you've ever had the social anxiety thing, or that's really what it's about. It's what are they called? Hikikomori. Just people that don't go out.
Otaku.
Yeah. That's those people that are super into
that culture.
But there's I think it's called Hikikomori, but they're the guys that like cannot leave their apartment like for years at a time. It's not like the typical anime fighting craziness. It's more about this dude, and he kind of is out and he meets a girl, and she kind of helps him. But there's a lot more to it.
Slice of life.
Yeah, slice of life kind of thing. Yeah. Coming of age.
Slice of life.
Yeah. So, and I recommend that one a lot if you want something different as far as anime. You don't want like, overnight they're charging up.
Like everything I have on here is intense. There's no I watched a lot of slice of life. In fact, I can make a whole list of just slice of life, but I didn't include it because a lot of that's not stuff that people generally start and get hooked with watching anime. Oh, well, this is just life.
So
Why
for
am I
me,
watching this?
I'm burnt out on the superhero stuff, and like anime is great, but I can't really get into, like, I'm super picky about my content that I consume now.
Me too. Like I have criteria before I watch any of these. I'll finish
because listening to all those, like, maybe I'm going to watch some more Cowboy Bebop and maybe check out an Ergo Proxy. Like
I don't jump between them. I watch all of one and then go to the next kind of deal.
But I'm on some new stuff. I'm trying to, every night I've been on the whole music grind, making production stuff.
Good for
synthesizers, and we can talk about that next time.
I've been watching anime. Right. So I'll finish with that. So there's 2 more. One Punch Man is a newer anime, and it's basically about this superhero, and he's the most powerful thing ever, and he can literally kill anything with one punch. And so there's a lot of character development in that. It's fun. It's cheesy. It doesn't take itself seriously, so it just kind of makes you smile. And then I'm going to finish with Ruby. This is what I've been watching. It's RWBY, but it's pronounced Ruby. And it's the last anime I've been watching. I watched 2 full seasons of that last night. Now, the first season, the episodes were only 4 or 5 minutes long each. So they're not like, in each of these episodes, they're not generally longer than 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's usually 20 minutes.
20 minutes most. So the thing about Ruby it took me 3 times to actually get to watch this. The first time I watched it, I'm like, it's not so much. And the second time, like, seriously, not to the point. It's the animation style. It's computerized. It's like computer drawn characters, and you can see that in their movements. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm watching a computer drawn character, which put me off. But once you get past that and you get actually watch,
you start to like the style after a while. You're used to it, and you're like, oh, I like this. It's familiar.
So I forced myself to get through the first episode of it and actually watch it. And I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. And I'll watch the next one. And then it got even cooler. And once they got to the fight scenes, forget about it. So if you don't like fighting anime, don't watch this, because that's mostly what this is. There is character development. There's an overarching plot, but it's mostly fighting. So if you don't like the fighting stuff, you're not going to like this anime. But there's some intense shit. Like, seriously, like the fighting scenes are like Bruce Lee choreographed with like the sound effects.
Sounds pretty dope.
And all the stuff. So if you like fighting anime, it's basically Mortal Kombat meets The Matrix with a little bit of RoboCop thrown in there, because they fight some mecha. So that's cool. Well, that's it. That's my list for being a super nerd. If you're trying to get an anime, check some of those out. And if you have an anime that you really like, let us know, because I'm all about finding new stuff. I wrote down Welcome to NHK by you, bro.
Oh, dude, let me know. Well, let's talk about that next time.
Okay.
Remind me of this. We're talking about that. I want to talk about
the other thing too.
What's the other thing?
This, that, and the other thing, bro.
This, that, the other thing. And then I want to talk about life and how you perceive memories next time.
Okay, yeah.
And then I want to talk about music production.
Okay.
And just how you get it into the music, the electronic stuff.
Okay.
And I'm going to some other random stuff.
Okay,
cool.
cool.
Just remind me of that.
I'm going to have some topics to go along with those then. Sweet. All right, cool. Well, Greg, it's always fun talking to you. It's Mike.
Heck yeah. Bye.
You going, Cubs. Go Cubs.
Go sports.
Yeah.